All right, so the first thing we need to make the refried beans is we need garlic and we need onions. Now you want to take the garlic and just have a few cloves of garlic and peel these, and then you want to put it in here and smash it together. Now I have already smashed the garlic. As you can see, the garlic is smashed. And I took the onions and I chopped them into little pieces, and not a lot of onions. As you can see, the onion here, it's not a full onion compared to the onion there. So just barely a half an onion, maybe a little less than that, and just chop it all up and just put a little bit of olive oil, enough to barely cover the whole frying pan. I put a little bit of salt just so then when we mix this all up, it'll have a little bit of salt, but we're gonna add more salt as we add the beans to it. So now we want to turn this thing on and let this thing start frying. All right, so while that is cooking, I have here the pinto beans. Now you may think, why do these beans look a little weird or so thick? These beans are actually fresh. They have already been pressure cooked. And I have just put them in the bowl and put it in the fridge for a couple days because I wasn't going to use the beans that day. So these beans are fresh. Like I said, they've just been pressure cooked and they've just been in the bowl in the fridge for a couple days, so they kind of got thick with the cold, with the temperature of the fridge. So let's go back to the chopped onions and the garlic. All right, so you can see it's already beginning to cook, and what we want to do is just stir this. Just stir that garlic, stir the onions. The garlic has turned a little green because it has absorbed a little of the oil. Don't worry about that. Just stir this for a couple moments and let the garlic and the onions release their flavor, especially into the oil. And if you smell this steam, it smells absolutely delicious. You can probably put more things in this, not just beans. And you could put any beans on this. These are just, like I said, these are just freshly pressure cooked, but you can get even canned beans, like Bush's canned beans, straight pinto beans, and put it in here. They'll work just the same. I just chose to pressure cook it because it's more fresh. So let's stir this around a little bit, and I think it's just about ready for the beans. Turn up the temperature just a little bit. Just put this in. And you can just pour this in there. Just give it a stir. Let that mix in. Let that mix in and simmer. And just pour the whole bottle in, the whole container. Just mix it all in there. You can add a little bit of water if you want. I got a little bit of water here. Just get it just a little loose. Don't worry about it. It's gonna thicken, especially when we get ready to mash the beans. And like I said, we put salt on this earlier, but because the beans are not salted, it's gonna go back. So you could just put a little bit of salt on it, as much as it's palatable to you. And let this start boiling just a little bit, and then we'll be ready to mash it. All right, so they're boiling now a little bit, and I'm gonna use this right here, and we're just going to start gently and just start mashing these beans. These are pinto beans. You can probably do the same with black beans and other beans. I've never tried it with black beans. It's always been pinto beans since My family's from Dominican Republic. My mother's Dominican, my father's Dominican, and in Dominican Republic we mostly cook with pinto beans. I know Mexicans and Cubans, they do black beans, and that's all right. I've never cooked this with black beans. I have eaten some burritos with black beans on it, but I've never cooked it with black beans. But these are pinto beans. And just mash this until all the beans you see are fully mashed. You could already see it starting to develop a small paste. And you can, if you want, you can just put your little finger in or take a spoon and just taste and see if it's good on salt. If you want to add a little bit more salt, just sprinkle some salt and just continue to mash and mix as you go. And you can lower the temperature just a little bit. These beans are almost ready. Alright, so I took another frying pan and I put some beans on this frying pan. This is the original frying pan. I'm not going to eat all of this today, obviously, but you can see how the beans, they look. They're a nice paste. Refried beans, the onions, the garlic have basically kind of melted and integrated with them. So I'm going to leave these. These will eventually go back to the fridge, but this I'm going to eat today. And the reason why I have them here is because I like to, at times, get some cheese. And I like to put the cheese in it as it's in the frying pan. And melt the cheese into the beans before I put it in the tortilla. Or, as Spanish people say, a tortilla. And you just want to mix that in, let the cheese melt into the beans. The beans are going to change to a slightly lighter color because the mozzarella cheese is obviously white. And then we're ready to bring the tortillas out, and we're going to see how this is going to look. Alright, so I put some beans on the tortilla already, and what I like to do is I like to put some chia seeds. These are chia seeds. They're very small, tasteless. They don't taste bad, they don't taste good because they don't have a flavor to them. They're very nutritious. They have a lot of protein, a lot of calcium, and iron. So I put that on top of the beans. That's just what I like to do. And at times I like to take a little bit of lettuce and put the lettuce on top of that. Some lettuce. And when you're doing bean burritos, you cannot forget hot sauce. So I got two types of hot sauce here. I got, obviously, Taco Bell's hot sauce. This is mild. I'll do normally hot, but I ran out of hot. And this is Melinda's ghost pepper wing sauce. This is a very hot pepper, very hot sauce. I did a video on this, trying it out for the first time. You may want to look at that. So I use Taco Bell hot sauce because I like the flavor. Like I said, it's not a hot sauce too much. I just pour a little bit in there. And then I get some Melinda's hot sauce and just put a couple drops in because this is very hot. So just put a little bit in there. And voila, you got yourself a bean burrito. And there you go. And that's the final plate. 4 bean burritos. Doesn't that look delicious? So, thank you for watching. Give a thumbs up if you like. Also share. Maybe one of these days I'll show you how to make Dominican style rice and beans. So stick around. Thank you very much.